You ever see something that just looked great, like it was, attractive on the outside, but it just had some kind of something wrong on the inside?
Wow, it looks really nice on the outside.
Yeah, like that house. My God, what was with all that trash? But I'm thinking a little bit deeper. It's like you meet this beautiful woman and you can't get to wait to know her, but then you get to know her and it's like,
You look beautiful tonight. Mercy. Congratulations.
Can I ask you why you're so fat?
wow, lady, get right to the point. But today we're going to talk about something from Gaminja, Gam Ninja, whatever. The K36 people and some of the other handhelds we have reviewed on here. Today I saw one that looked really nice online, and I thought maybe they're stepping up their game. We're going to take a look at this, the Ans16, which is just nothing more than a rebadged SF3000, which is a sequel to the SF2000, a ugly little duckling that the community found to be good. But is this one just all smoke and mirrors? Anyways, remember to hit that like button and subscribe so you never miss an episode of our content. But let's find out, is all the lovely stuff on the outside match what's on the inside?
I think we ran out of gas.
I told you to go see Deadfred.
Why, yes, they should. I mean, haven't they seen my commercial?
At Deadfred Auto, we have no need for gas. Do you?
That's right, because we've gone all electric here at Deadfred Auto. So come down and select one of the best new... No, wait, I'm not a car dealer. Oh man, that would be kind of cool. I actually want an electric vehicle. Hey, Deadheads, welcome to the channel. Or welcome to the channel for the first time, new Deadheads. Today, we're going to take a look at the Gaminja Ans16. So yeah, Gaminja made the first version of the K36 that we reviewed, and we liked it quite a bit, and I thought that they were on the up and up, and they've made some interesting devices. And so recently, they have really been making some devices look attractive, like this really cheap, under $15 handheld that's been popping up. This is the GC76. And it looks nice. It looks like a nice little Famiclone. And it has a little wheel for volume. And the buttons are not bad. They're okay. And for Famiclone goes, it uses a standard battery. It even has USB-C to charge it. So this is something that, a few years ago would have been somewhat impressive. It even has an on-off button that you hold, not a switch. But you can see, the ugliness comes out. We have crap software and a crap CPU on here, and an even crappier set of games that can play on it. So 401 games that you can play on this thing. So while this looks nice for $15, and it is nice to hold, I kind of wonder which direction Gaminja is going in. Because I saw online this really nice looking handheld. So let's start with the box here. And the box, it's not much different than the box you see for the SF3000. Now, when the SF3000 came out, everybody was like very hopeful because the SF2000, the little data frog, had really taken the hearts of the community, and they rallied around it, and they really got that thing going into a direction nobody expected for cheap, because it was really cheap. This box is not much to look at. Usually I do a lot looking over the box, but let's just get down to it. The box is not very attractive. There's not a whole lot going on in the inside. We do have an instruction manual, and it does come with a USB-C to A cord. That's about it. Excuse me. Not much else going on in this package, but we can take a look at this instruction manual, and no surprise here, it's in a bunch of different languages, and it kind of gives you some information here, but it's really not anything super exciting because, as we'll find out in a little while, this is a pig in lipstick. It is a very attractive looking handheld that has super awful software and really CPU out of the box. But let's get this thing out of the box and take a look at it, and let's just talk about that. Hey guys, sorry to interrupt the video, but I wanted to take a moment to talk about today's sponsor, AliExpress, and the Retroid Pocket Mini V2. We want to thank AliExpress for sending this to us. This is an amazing device. Now, we all know that Retroid had a big boo-boo with the original V1 where they kind of messed up the screen, but the new V2 comes with that big, beautiful full display screen. This is an amazing handheld. It already was great, but now it's even better. You can check my influencer page with all the coupon codes so you can get this and other great items at a discount. We love this handheld. It's so amazing. Again, we want to thank AliExpress for sponsoring our channel and for giving you deadheads all these great discounts. Remember to hit the links down there so you can save today. Anyways, back to the show. All right, so as we alluded at the beginning of the video, we have a situation here where something is pretty attractive on the outside, but once you get to the inside, you see a whole nother story. But looking at this, it does start off in the nice PSP form factor with the 4.5-inch screen. So we do have this 4.5-inch screen, which is nice. It is at the same resolution as the original PSP. So that's pretty good if we want to do that. But is this thing going to play PSP? That's the bigger question. But let's start talking about the hardware. When I first picked this up, I was kind of surprised. I was like, this feels solid. It doesn't feel cheap. It doesn't rattle a whole lot. And I was actually kind of like, okay, what do we got here? Maybe I'm going to actually like this. But let's start with these buttons. And yeah, the buttons feel okay. They're not bad. I'm not super happy with the placement where they're at. I wish they were somewhere else. But they don't feel too bad at all, actually. They're a little small too. But they do glow, and we'll get to that in a minute. Moving on to this D-pad. And okay, a nice large D-pad. It's a little stiff for my liking, but it does pivot and it does rock nicely and it feels good. It doesn't feel super cheap. So we're kind of doing good. And then we get to these sticks. They look like normal Switch style sticks, but oh boy, they're like Vita. They don't click in. There's no clicky in. They're just hard sticks where you can't push them down and in. Now they rotate okay. They feel okay. They're probably prone to drift because I'm sure they're not Hall based, but you know, kind of disappointed they don't click in. Now moving, we have the shoulder buttons, and just like the PSP, nice. They're a little loud, but I like that they're see-through like this. We have R and L, but where is L2 and R2? Do we not have it? Oh, there it is on the back. And look at that. They do have L2 and R2 put in this unique position. So again, we have something that kind of looks nice. It kind of feels nice to hold, especially if we had the power to run things, holding the two sticks, which is in that funny position, and putting your ring finger down here or your pinky middle finger down here, it feels pretty nice. I could see how using the shoulders and hitting those back there would feel kind of natural for a game. So kind of interesting. They are a little loud, but I do think that's an interesting placement, and they're trying something different. And then we have the stand here. Why the stand? Well, you can set this thing up and you can put another controller in here and you can play two players on your big 4.5-inch screen. I don't know if 4.5 inches is really big enough to have two players playing on this, but hey, it's the thought that counts, right? And then moving on, we do have a select and a start, which super big buttons, and then a home button. On the top, we do have our volume rocker. We have our headphone jack. We have two USB-C ports, one for OTG, so you can put those controllers in it. And we have an on and off button, not a switch, which is really nice. Now, here's the first big problem. We have a single speaker on the back, a single mono firing speaker. So we all know that that's not going to be very good. It's going to blast the sound backwards. It's going to be mono, going to be not very good at all. Nothing on the sides. On the bottom, we do have a single TF slot, and then we have a lanyard hole on each side, so you can add a lanyard to this if you want it. So again, it's not too bad, but once you turn this on, it's where we really run into the problems, because much like the SF3000 that it kind of tried to improve on, it only improved on it in looks. So let's get this thing booted up and let's talk about it and talk about what's really disappointing about this handheld. Hey Deadhead, sorry to interrupt the video, but I wanted to talk to you today about this, the Kinhank K56. This is an amazing handheld, a 5.5-inch, very comfortable to hold handheld, but even better, our friends at Kinhank have put this with a fully curated, awesome ROM collection that has everything set up for beginners. So if you want to purchase this for somebody that just wants to grab and play, this is the perfect handheld for that. When I got this for review, I was really impressed with the curation aspect of it. Now the price of this is a little bit more, but with my coupons and our friends over at AliExpress, you can get this at a good price. Again, this is the Kinhank K56, and it is a handheld that I like a lot, especially for its awesome curated ROM collection. It can play reliably up through N64, Dreamcast, Sega Saturn, Nintendo DS. It can also dabble just a little bit in PS2 and GameCube. Anyways, check my description at the bottom for your codes to save. We want to thank our friends at AliExpress as always for sponsoring this video. We'll see you next time. Back to the show. Okay, so booting this up has another nice little delightful surprise. So as I turn this on here, we have some glow. We have some pretty nice use of LED here, RGB, which I kind of like. So starting with the shoulder buttons up here, the PSP style, we do have a see-through light. You can see the L and R lit up really nice, and I think they did it pretty well. We also have the buttons lit up. I really like this. The buttons that are lit up are X, Y, A, and B, and they look nice with this different color. Now we're on a rainbow setting, but if we hit the off on button, we can cycle through. We can cycle through a bunch of different colors there, or we can even turn it off if you just want it off, which is nice. So give them props for that. Again, up until now, we have a nice looking handheld in the PSP format that doesn't feel cheap. It feels nice. Its only major disappointment is the speaker and the lack of clicky sticks. But then, for some reason, instead of using the Rockchip 3326 like the K36 has, which would have been great for this thing, we go with another CPU and an absolute awful software. Gaminja, what are you doing? Now, I don't know if custom firmware can come to this. I'm not sure. I haven't looked at the SF3000 crowd to see if they've done miracles with it like they've done with the 2000. But let me tell you how disappointed and how unnecessary it is for them to release this when they've already released the K36. And maybe that's because they just strapped their name on it. They didn't really do it. I don't know. But it's just it's so frustrating. I'm not even going to show much gameplay on this because this thing is, I don't even know what the CPU is, but it can't play hardly anything. The ROM selection is awful. They're numbered, the names are wrong, they're incorrect. They don't even have the right systems listed to it. Yes, it'll play games, but everything is stretched out. You can't change anything. There's no way to change it. You can save it. I mean, that's a miracle. You can actually go into this menu and you can save your progress. So at least that's there. But it just baffles the mind. This reminds me of SJGAM, who do the same thing. They put out a pretty decent handheld, and then they revert back to something that's just awful the next time. I don't know what you're doing, Gaminja. You rebranded this, so you rebranded the K36, so maybe it's the same thing here. You just slap some colors on it. But if you're going to change it enough like this, add lights to it and give it a different color and everything like that, I just think it would have been beneficial to actually make this better. Make this shape, make this hardware with a Rockchip 3326, or put a 3566 so we can get better PSP compatibility. If you really want to go out, make this with the T620. We'll have a really nice PSP machine here. It just baffles the mind. It doesn't work. Also, the battery on this thing is terrible. I don't understand. The battery is like really terrible on this thing. But again, you can't change anything. You can't really set it, the governor or anything like that. Maybe at some point somebody will have some sort of software, custom firmware out for this, but Deadfred is just devastated that this thing has the CPU and software that it has. I thought about opening it up, but I don't think there's any need to do that. I'm sure it's exactly the same as the SF3000, and it's not even enjoyable to play just Game Boy. It's mainly because the software is terrible. If they'd at least given us a curated, gameplay experience, if they put together a decent ROM set, or just drop the price and not even ship it with a card, get this out $20. But that's not what they did. So guys, just can't recommend this as much as it looks nice. I like to do this for you. I bought it, but I think you may see this online and go, hey, that looks nice from Gaminja. It does look nice. This is going to look nice on my shelf. Up here, it'll be nice, you know, but it just isn't very good to play. But let me hear any pushback. Any fans of this out there? Anybody have any other opinions? Let me know. I want to know if you like it, if you think it's great. It's running at about $35. That's just price territory where there's so many better handhelds for the price. You know, at $15, $20, this would be okay. If you're going to go cheap Gaminja, just really cheap, just go with the first one I showed you. Just go with the little one that's just like $10. This isn't it, guys. It disappointed me. Anyways, remember to hug your loved ones and love your hugged ones because tomorrow is never promised. We'll see you next time, Deadheads. Deadfred out.